So, good morning. My name is Pawan, and I'll be teaching you IP law. So, that would be intellectual property law, and that is HOE 6019. So, welcome to this course. And well, it's September, and we have this pandemic situation with coronavirus. So, we're not exactly sure how to proceed with these courses this term. But the general consensus is that at least for September, we will have online courses and the lectures will be online. And then hopefully by October or November, we have a better idea about how things are planned and how things go. Maybe there'll be a new vaccine after all, and we can all come back here. If that works out, very good. I'll be happy to meet you all. If not, well, here's plan B. All right. So, let's see, intellectual property law, and this is the course that will be a sort of a combined course for people from law school and a non-law background. So we're looking at a strange mixture over here of people who want to become lawyers and also people who are studying in other science fields like engineering, chemistry, etc. So we have to sort of cater to all of them, and we will try to keep this as straightforward and simple as possible. Now, those of you who are not from a legal background, you probably have this crazy notion that laws are evil and lawyers are evil and they're just out there to ruin your life, which is not the case. And I hope that uh, one of the outcomes of this course would be that we all understand and appreciate how the laws are designed to help everybody and to help society, of course. So once again, welcome to this course. And the most important aspect over here is Moodle. So it's really important that you should be online in Moodle. If you're seeing this video, then, well, the YouTube links are posted in Moodle. So I'm presuming you already have found your way through and are now in Moodle. So the Moodle course over here, it's Intellectual Property Law, HOE 6019. Shouldn't be a problem to find it. Just to be on the safe side, I've even added my name, Pawan Dutt, in the brackets. So something about myself, well, I've been practicing law since 1998, yeah, a long time. And well, I've specialized in IP law. So I am a patent attorney. I've handled trademark issues, copyright issues, design issues. Things have been going on. I practice law and I continue to do so even as I teach over here. So, well, this is what I've been doing for almost 20 years of my life now. And coming on to Moodle, once you get onto Moodle, you will find certain information in the news forum. So I'll be keeping on updating you about all of the requirements. Pay special attention to the extended syllabus because it outlines what we're going to teach, the outcomes that are hoped to be achieved, the exams, the homework assignments, everything. Everything will be put up on Moodle so that you know all the deadlines, all the submissions of the homeworks at least have to be done through Moodle. About the exams, let's see how it goes. We go with the flow. Either we do it in the classroom in December or else we do it online. So regarding the course itself, all the lecture notes are available in Moodle. All the information that you will need for the exam is available in Moodle. There are some books that have been pointed out also. They are available in the library, but if you read through everything in Moodle, you should be fine. And so let's look at the extended syllabus and try to understand how things are placed. So as far as this course is concerned, it's not supposed to be heavy duty. It's supposed to be straightforward and pretty much simplistic. We try to understand the basic aspects of trademarks, copyrights, a bit more attention towards patents because we have a lot of science students in this classroom, and I hope it will be interesting for them and also for the law students, interesting to see how this field works. And then designs as well, and then a little bit about trademarks. So all the things are outlined in the Moodle syllabus. And you will have course have a final exam and 2 homework assignments. So the homework assignments are of 20 marks each, and you will be given the homework assignment. You have to upload it in Moodle. You'll have 30 days to do the work, and it's very important to keep in mind the deadlines, because honestly, if you don't do it in a month, I don't think you'll ever do it. So the criteria is very strict about that. So if you don't submit it on time, upload it on time, if you miss the deadline, then you lose the marks. So 2 homework assignments and 20 marks each, that would be 40 marks. And then the exam would be 60 marks. So the total is 100. And then we have a grading system 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And based on the amount of marks you have, your grade gets calculated. So it's quite straightforward, simple, very transparent. Everybody gets the same treatment, no special rules for anybody. Follow the rules, upload everything on time, and do the work properly, and there you are. You get a good grade, a very good grade, even an excellent grade. All right. I'm not here to fail anybody. I'm not interested in making your life miserable. What I'm interested in is making sure that we all understand IP law and how it works, and hopefully that will sort of keep you and me happy. All right. So that's the criteria for this particular course. So that's the syllabus. Today I was hoping maybe to just spend a bit of time, since it's the first online lecture, to sort of update you with various things. Now, well, IP law, of course, has a long story behind it, and these laws have been around for several hundred years or even more now. They are the basis of our capitalist societies. And then, of course, there is a bit about the theories of intellectual property law. Why do we have IP law? What's the key reason behind them? Now, well, it's sort of become a bit of a fashion nowadays for people to think that IP law isn't relevant, which would not really be true. You have to be very careful about how you protect IP, because creation of intellectual property is one part, and then commercializing it successfully is the other part. And you need to have a good understanding of IP, intellectual property, so that you can not only create IP but also advise your clients about IP. So for those of you who are the law students, well, we'll be looking at some legal aspects, again in a very light way. It's a 3-credit course, so there's no point in messing up with you. All the legal elements will be covered, and hopefully you can see them in more detail, and this will create an open pathway for you when you go for your master studies and you specialize in IP law, for example. Regarding the non-law students, a lot of the emphasis in this course will be on understanding the background, the basics, the main criteria. So don't get bogged down by articles or sections or directives or regulations. The idea here is to sort of make you understand how logical the law is, and what are the requirements and criteria that need to be fulfilled. So talking about the different theories of intellectual property law, well, there are 4 main theories. You can read about them if you're interested. Of course, they are there in the Moodle course. There's the utilitarian theory, which basically says that there should be a balance between the stimulation of creation, that is the artist or the inventor on the one hand, and then the enjoyment of the creation or the invention by the general public. And what this is will become more clear as we proceed further. So there's a very important element of maintaining a balance between those who create and then those who enjoy the different creations or the inventions. And then, of course, this is very important because we have monopolies in this particular field, which I'll talk about in more detail later on. The second part is there's a theory, it's the labor theory. Those of you who have done foundations of law in the first year with me will remember our good friend Locke. And this theory basically is, if you create something, you have a right to become rich from it. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. We don't live in a socialist communist country anymore. So we have a classroom which is full of people from different parts of the world. Well, generally 80% of you tend to be from Finland, and then there are a lot of other people from many other countries. Well, because of the coronavirus situation, I don't know. Let's hope we get to meet each other in person, and I can put a name to the face, and then hopefully take things further. So the labor theory under Locke clearly says, if you cut a tree down and you turn it into a bench by doing your woodwork, carpentry, and things, then of course you're entitled to the benefit of this thing, right? I mean, you should sell the bench and you should make the money from it, and you did it because of your own hard work, and you deserve to be rich. That's why Bill Gates, you see, Bill Gates is rich because he worked hard, right? So if you work hard, why should you not enjoy the fruits of your labor? Of course, there are a few niches and some elements to it, but generally that's the gist of that theory. Then there's the personhood theory, which basically it goes into a lot of interesting things. It talks about the satisfaction of fundamental human needs. So when you make music, it's not just about making money for yourself. It's about enjoying, about spreading joy. It's about doing things. A lot of this also comes in with, for example, open source software. So it's not only just a source of income for people, but it has spin-off effects, and so you shouldn't just always see things in terms of money, but there are more broader aspects to things. And that also includes, finally, the social planning theory, the fourth theory on IP subjects. And basically it says we need to create a just and attractive culture. So a lot of interesting elements to this. Something to read and just to understand the different theoretical aspects of IP, because there's a big science behind all of this, and it's my duty to bring it out for you. So maybe now that I've been babbling for 12 minutes, I could perhaps look at some of the aspects of what IP law generally comprises about. So that we just have a rough idea, lay the foundations for the next lectures that will come. All right. So now if you look at Moodle, you'll see that there is straight up on top a file called My IP Booklet, and that's from the United Kingdom. It covers all the basic elements of IP. It talks about IP in a simplistic way. There are a lot of legal aspects that are in the Moodle notes for the lawyers to make you happy, but for the non-lawyers, there are also a lot of notes which explain things in a non-legal technical manner, in a more layman simplistic manner. All right. Again, the focus is on understanding what IP is all about, so that you have a clear-cut criteria about these things. If at the end of all of this you understand the difference between a patent and a trademark and a copyright, I'll be very happy. Okay. So because a lot of people make a lot of mistakes about these basic concepts, and that's something that I want to eradicate from your minds. So different types of IP, four main types. There will be trademarks, patents, copyrights, and designs. And then there's one fifth aspect, which are trade secrets. So somebody once said, if you can't explain a concept in a few minutes, then basically you don't really know the concept. All right. So you don't need to spend 10 hours trying to explain what things are. There are some very basic aspects, and if you understand them, you're on track. So when you look at these four types of intellectual property, we look at them in two simplistic ways. Number one is, what exactly does this stuff mean? Does this cover? So is it something important, something soft, something fluffy? What is it? And then the second aspect would be the criteria of a monopoly. Very important. I'll be stressing upon them in more detail during the course of the lectures. So number one, trademarks. We are surrounded by trademarks everywhere you see. Look at your favorite car. It could be an Audi, it could be a Mercedes, it could be a Ferrari, it could be a Tesla. the clothes you wear, the gym you go to, the courier you use for getting your food, Volt, Bolt, Yahoo, Google, Honda, Hyundai. There are some of them which are put up in photos as well in the course, so you can see some of these things. But they're not rocket science. I mean, you just need to figure out a good name, a good catchy name, something that attracts attention. If you can add some elements to it, maybe some words, some symbols, some color scheme, good. That's very good. Yeah. So for example, Talon University of Technology. Yeah, what is that? Talon University. University of Tartu. What does that mean? Yeah, Finnair, British Airways. That doesn't really cut much ice. So of course you may have to use some fancy logos. In the case of our university, you now have Taltech. You have all these things, color scheme, the words, but really it's just fluffy. I mean, it's not something that you need to have a double PhD to figure out. You just need to know what attracts attention of the customers, and as long as you keep on drumming it into them through advertising, through the internet, whatever, you're on track. Yeah, but very important, very, very important is the part about the monopoly. When you create an intellectual property, you are given a monopoly by the state. This monopoly means that only you can use that IP and nobody else. So, for the case of trademarks, this monopoly is for 10 years, and then you can keep on renewing it after every 10 years, almost forever, as long as civilization and legal, jurisprudence exists. So what you could have is a trademark that could last forever. Okay, fine. Yeah, that's all right in the case of Mercedes or Honda or whatever. But then trademarks not only include words and symbols, but now they also include smell, shape, yeah, sounds, things like that. And then of course this is very important. So for example, just to sort of maybe stress upon certain sounds that are relevant for us. I'll just try to play something here. In the classroom, I use a lot of audio visual, but here we can't. So just let's look at this. Nokia Tune. Yeah, if you look at this.
Sure. Skip this ad. Just like you skipped out on buying Amazon stock and Google.
Things we have to do. Yeah, okay. So let's see what comes out here. Yeah. So a sound can be a trademark. Okay, we can live with that. Just like a shape can be a trademark. But then if you look at something strange now, you're talking about sounds, right? So what about a Harley Davidson motorcycle engine sound? Just to see how that comes out. So that's here. Okay, well, somebody's putting it on now. And of course, what's happening here is Harley Davidson tried to claim that this is a very special sound because it comes from their engine. And so they need to get a trademark, but the sound is just an output, right? And so if you are looking at a trademark for this sort of sound, basically you're getting a trademark on the engine itself, the source of the sound. And this can have quite a lot of implications from a legal perspective. So you have to think about all of these things over here. I'll come back to this, of course, later on. Then you have copyright, and copyright could be in a book, could be in a video like this video, could be in a music video, in a song. Let's see, my favorite song, I don't even know whether this guy still is alive or not, but if you look at this here, again, very introductory, so we're just looking at some basic things here. Yeah, well, you can listen to the song later on, but of course, it's got a lot of creativity with it. But it's also a music video, so now you have artists, the light guy, the cameraman, the editor, the whole stuff that goes on over here. Of course, there's a music band. There are the drum guy, the guitar guy, the synthesizer guy. Everybody's involved over here, so they all have rights. What's important is that copyright basically is about creativity, and then of course that has its own charms. Copyright is for a period of the life of the person plus 70 years. Yeah, so basically a song, but it's for the life of the person plus 70 years. And that's a very important limitation because after that period, copyright expires. Unlike trademarks, which go on forever, and trademarks can now include songs. Then comes patents. Patents are wow. Patents are, we'll be spending a lot of time on patents. Patents are very important. You have a candle, and the candle gives light, so that's straightforward and simple. But then you can have a light bulb, and a light bulb is a different creation altogether. I have a diagram of the light bulb out over here in topic 1, let there be light. So you can look at the light bulb. Basically, you're looking at different elements that are put together, and two metal strips attached to each other, and of course an electric circuit, and they're enclosed within this round shaped spherical body which has a vacuum inside. And then of course when you put the current on, the metal filaments get hot and they give out light, and the vacuum in the bulb sphere of course makes the light even more brighter. Hopefully in the classroom I can draw diagrams about this and explain this in more detail to you, but for now use your imagination. All right, important thing for patents of course is you need to have a lot of criteria for this. This is not your fluffy trademark stuff. This is not like my competitor is using the name Volt, I will use the name Bolt. No, not like that. This is a bit more complicated. Patents require a lot of deep knowledge of science and understanding of things. More important from our point of view, the patent monopoly, which is very extensive, is only for a limited period of time. 20 years from the date of date of creation or date of application of the patent. So 20 years from the date of the application of the patent. Yeah, and that's a very important, significant term. We'll talk about that in more detail when it comes up. Then you have designs. Well, I have my favorite illustration of a designer chair and all sorts of things. Unfortunately, can't do this on this particular medium right now, but we'll get to it. You can't escape from that. But if you look all around you, you have designer stuff everywhere because everybody wants to buy stuff that is not just functional, right? You don't want something that's made in the Soviet Union. It just does the job, but it looks ugly. Who cares? Nobody wants that stuff anymore. People want sleek lines. People want stylized stuff. People want this whole Scandinavian realism, all sorts of stuff. A lot of design terminologies behind it. Some designs are of course easier to use, but most are just aesthetically pleasing. And that's a very important criteria in today's lives. You need to have a car that's pretty. You need to have a mobile phone that's attractive, because what is beautiful, what is sexy sells. Ugly stuff doesn't sell unless it's super ugly, in which case you create a niche market for yourself. So basically you're looking at engineers who are also now into stylizing the work. And so of course this is different from a copyright of a statue or something. This is an industrial design, and we'll spend some time looking at some examples of this. So industrial designs are for several years, maximum 25 years. There's a whole criteria about them. We'll talk about these things. Now, these are very general aspects. You may wonder, okay, so, how does that help in this globalized world? Well, it helps because there's a reason why myself, an Indian guy sitting here in my house in Estonia, talking to students from many countries of the world about topics, which actually makes sense in all the countries of the world because IP laws are synchronized throughout the world, and thanks to the WTO, the World Trade Organization, working under the United Nations, and the TRIPS agreement, the trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights. When the first globalization started happening in the 1990s, and IP laws were synchronized throughout the world. So whether you're in Japan, in Estonia, in Finland, in North America, in Brazil, in Canada, in New Zealand, in African countries, Asian countries, the laws are more or less the same as far as trademarks, patents, copyrights, and designs are concerned. So that's why we can sit here and have this conversation without thinking about, oops, this doesn't apply to us. No, it applies to everybody, unless maybe if you are in North Korea or somewhere, where the law may not deal with such things. But everywhere else in a globalized world, you have IP laws that are designed to sort of intermingle seamlessly, which is why Volkswagen can be based in Germany, but can have a factory, can outsource work for certain things. So for example, a factory in Estonia can make seat belts, or a factory in China can make the batteries, or a factory in Japan can make the semiconductors, or the chips that take care of certain things like your airbag that opens up in the car, steering wheel. So all of these things, the sensors, everything can be outsourced. They can be manufactured globally, and that the only reason that can be done is because IP laws are designed to be protected. Of course, if you read the news, all the fighting that's been going on since the last couple of years, especially now between the United States and China, also deals especially with intellectual property and the theft of intellectual property. So these are all these issues that cause a lot of stress and tension in the system. So we'll spend a lot of time on that. So, well, let's stop here for today. I think I've given you all enough to munch upon and think about. And well, those of you who have to make your choice, well, you can choose whether you like to continue with this course or not. I understand that you have time for this week for that purpose. And so everything you need will be available in Moodle. And let's see, hopefully by next week, we have a clearer picture of who the students are and their backgrounds and things. And then I can start with IP law lectures in the right way. And then of course, if you have any questions, comments, anything, there are different ways to deal with that. Easiest would be to send me an email, on my email account. Don't write to me on voice. Sometimes, very rarely people do that. So send me an email or send me a message in Moodle. There is also a possibility to have discussions in Moodle. So let's see how that goes. If required, maybe in the future, we may even have Microsoft Teams events and things. Let's see how it goes. We keep an open mind about everything. So thank you for your time. Thank you for spending 28 minutes with me. And I hope we can have a good time and understand all of these concepts and each other better. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can also meet in the classroom, and because that's always much more fun. So thank you and have a nice day. Goodbye.